This is chapters 21 through 25 of 14 Ways to Die. 21. I don't open my eyes right away. I lay there, feeling increasingly uncomfortable, knowing there's a camera pointed at me, and that out there, on phones and iPads and computer screens, I'm being watched instead of the morning news. I can hear Danny breathing, and I imagine the moment right before Mom came face to face with the Magpie Man, when she sensed him but couldn't see him, when she knew her time was almost up. I fight the urge to cry, trying to slow my heart by focusing on the memory of my mother for 5, 10, 15 seconds. When I do open my eyes, I see the blinking red light on Michael's camera. Danny is sitting on my beanbag with a smile on his face. His smile says, "It's showtime." It says, "Action." It says, "Welcome to the rest of your life." I lie in bed, stretching under the covers, trying to act as normal as possible. I wonder if Lucas, Ella, Sonia, and Ryan are tuning in, seeing what I do well and what I mess up. There are 2 ways to go now. I either get it right or I don't. I either start with a bang or I choke. Danny is only a director in terms of camera angles and lighting. He's only there to capture whatever I do. There's no script except the one I've rehearsed in my head over and over again. So with time running out, I sit up, stare into the camera, and say, "Hi." Sorry. Chapter 22. My name is Jessica Simmons, I say, and my mom was murdered by the Magpie Man. I don't have time to ease them in. I have to start strong. 10 years ago, on January 22nd, my mom was killed in the alley near my house as she walked home from work. She was murdered by a man who was just getting started. The speech has gone through more rewrites than I can count. I was 7 when she died. When my dad told me, he took the horror away. He told me she was taken by someone who collected beautiful things, and that was where the name came from. My dad called him the Magpie Man, and I told my friends at school, and they told their parents. Somewhere along the line, the newspaper started putting it on their front pages, and suddenly, we'd made a monster. I look at Danny, making sure this is okay, and he nods but doesn't smile. We didn't know he would become a serial killer. My mom was the first person he murdered, but there are 13 now, and he won't stop. He will keep going until he's caught. He killed Lucy Halpern in September. I wish I didn't know her name. I wish I didn't know any of their names. It's been 5 months since he last struck. If he sticks to his pattern, we have around 4 months to catch him. I don't want to be famous. I don't want anything except justice. You can judge me any way you want. I don't care. This show isn't about me. It's about the 13 women who are gone and the 1 man who took them. Maybe you know something. Maybe you think you do. Maybe you have always suspected your dad or your brother or your neighbor. Maybe now you should tell someone. I don't know if this is what they expected when they signed me up, but this is what they're getting. She was forgotten once, but she won't be forgotten again. If you're watching, I say, my breath steadying myself for the end. If the monster who murdered my mother is watching this, you should know you didn't break me. You made me. And if no one else can stop you, I will. Chapter 23. I stand up and walk to the bathroom because that is the only place I can break down. There's no yelling cut, not until midnight. Until then, the cameras film everything and I need to stay strong. But here I can quietly sob into a towel, the courage I feel during my speech crumbling. Mom made me strong. But if I remember too much, everything fractures. "You're my star," she said once, sitting next to me on the top step as I cried about a play I didn't want to do. "Don't worry about the other parents," she whispered. "Focus on me." I did. I was fine. And 3 months later, she was dead. When I've run out of tears, I shower, get dressed, and walk back out, ready for a new scene. Chapter 24. At school, Emily runs over and hugs me and says, "You were amazing!" Then she looks directly at the camera and smiles. She has a new haircut and is wearing even more makeup than usual, and I don't recognize any of her clothes. She's taking her co-star role very seriously. Hannah doesn't pay attention to the camera. She reaches out and squeezes my hand, and I smile and nod. This is our silent sign that I'm okay. All around us, people are stopping and staring, the ones the audience can see and the blurry faces. How it works is facial recognition. Once Mrs. Bradley had the permission slip, she gave the production company the school photos of everyone who was happy to be filmed. The cameras have been programmed to recognize those faces while all the others are automatically blurred out, so they are just school uniforms with smudges for heads. The woman in the bakery, the guy in the fish shop, the supermarket cashiers, and bus drivers, and strangers in the street, because the camera doesn't have a record of their faces, they are all blurs. A few 10th grade girls are giggling and pointing at Danny and trying to catch his eye, but he pretends not to notice. On the bus on the way to school, when the camera was nowhere near my hand, he squeezed it the way I always wished Dad would, just to pretend everything was all right. And suddenly there was another feeling in the mix, one I wasn't prepared for. If I think about it too much, I start to panic because I have a job to do and there's no time for distractions. Some people have their phones out, watching my live stream and trying to sneak their way into the shot, but most keep their distance. During classes, it's clear a couple of teachers like that I have a camera crew with me and others not so much. Mr. Collins, our English lit teacher, does his best to keep his back to us for the whole period, which I'm sure is against the rules of the Department of Education. I don't blame him. I think teachers have the right to be blurred out just as much as their students, but Mrs. Bradley decided for them. I don't feel guilty, though, even if he gives me the evil eye as I leave, like it's my fault he's going to be observed once a week for at least a month, and not only when the teacher evaluators visit the classroom. I have 2 free periods today, and for the first one, Hannah and I make small talk while Danny and Michael sit in the corner. No one else speaks to us. A few kids hang around, hoping to be extras, but most avoid the room altogether, watching from the doorway or quickly making a detour to the other side of the 11th grade homeroom when they notice the camera. Seniors get an entire upstairs area in the main building. However, our homeroom is an old portable hut that used to be 2 classrooms but is now full of secondhand sofas and a microwave. At least no one bothers us here. Hannah clearly doesn't feel comfortable being filmed, but she's doing her best, and I'm grateful she hasn't left me. For my second free period with both Hannah and Emily in class, I pretend to read while Michael films what has to be one of the most boring hours in history. Adrian told us to do what we always do. He said people would watch when they could and that our highlights the following morning will make up a large portion of our views. But I'm still worried I should be doing more. In between classes and at lunch, younger students wait on the edges, getting close but not too close, and when I get home, I still have absolutely no idea who is watching this. When we get my ratings on Tuesdays, so soon, I'll find out if this is a huge waste of time. I worry that only 4 people watched long enough for it to count: Emily, Hannah, Dad, and Nan. Then double it because Lucas, Ella, Sonia, and Ryan must have. But 8 viewers doesn't justify anything. If it's not a lot higher than that, I'll be ditched in less than a month. Chapter 25. I have dinner alone while Dad sits in the other room. Michael focuses his camera on random objects while I eat: the empty can of soup on the counter, the overflowing trash can, the sad man in the living room. Sorry, I thought that was really funny. When it's just the 2 of us, if we're lucky, the grief loses its grip. Those moments are rare, but with the world watching, it won't happen tonight. Dad may not realize it yet, but he is going to be a star too, if star is the right word. I don't know why I said that. I've already seen Danny watching him, knowing he can get 2 for the price of 1, the dead mom's daughter and the dead wife's husband. Good Lord. I don't blame him. It certainly makes for a better show than me eating a bowl of soup. Sorry, it's just so depressing that the funny parts are really funny. I haven't spoken directly to the camera since this morning. I don't want to overdo it, and I haven't checked my phone, scared that my social media feeds will kill my hopes of a good opening episode before the ratings have even come through. I wonder if the producers have been searching my notifications all day, choosing the best ones to put on screen. After dinner, I lie on my bed, listening to 21 Pilots, and it's surprisingly easy to forget the camera is even there. Danny and Michael have left. They sign off at 6, leaving the tiny cameras in the corners of every room to do their job for them. If I do go out, the contract says I have to wear 2 body cams they gave me. One is a head cam that films what I can see, and the other ties around my chest and points back at me like a selfie stick. I watch the camera watching me. At least on TV shows, there are people to talk to. At least vloggers fill every second with noise. If I want to go viral, I need to keep talking and hope something clicks. Are you watching? I say. Of course you're not. I go back to staring, and then, because I'm only going to beat the other 4 if I try harder, I say, why did you do it? Why her? It's what I've always wanted to ask. Of all the people out there, why did he choose my mom? Was she handpicked, or was it bad luck? Did he follow her for weeks, waiting for this moment, or was she in the wrong place at the wrong time? I hate you, I whisper. I've never met you, but I fucking hate you. I hear the camera whirring, and I imagine someone in the studio zooming in on my face. Do you have a mother? I ask. Do you love her? No one answers, but for the first time I can picture him watching. It's the darkness outside. That's when your nightmares come alive. Do you like the names we gave you? I ask. The Magpie Man? It sounds so harmless, unless you know the truth. I'm not afraid to say his name. I will shout it from the rooftops if I have to. I listen to my breathing and imagine Dad in the other room, choosing between old movies and late-night, one-way conversations with his daughter. I love you, Dad, I say, just in case. And then I get ready for bed and pull the covers over my face so no one can see me. At midnight, the camera clicks off and I finally fall asleep.